We're going to start talking about patient experience with Nikki Rasmussen from Banyan and Paul Jones, and really set the stage. What I want to set the stage with is two brands that we admire a lot in the in the customer experience space. One is Starbucks, and one is Apple. And so Steve Jobs, when he was he's created this new Apple experience, and they moved from making computers to changing the lives. One of the first processes that he went through was, how do I design the Apple Store so that when people come in, it's going to be just an amazing experience where you don't have to go to a counter, the people come to you. Right? That was a big shift in where when we go into an Apple Store, now you have people coming to you and you can check out easily. And the whole design, ergonomics, all that stuff was designed to facilitate the buying process, right? And people buy more in Apple stores today than any other store in the universe, right? So did Starbucks, right? When Howard Schultz built the first Starbucks in Seattle in 1976, the idea was to create an experience like he had experienced in Italy when he went to have coffee in the town, and he wanted to make sure that experience mattered. So when it was about experience, then people didn't care so much about what the price of the coffee was. And all of a sudden, people were used to paying 50 cents for a cup of coffee. They started paying $8 for a frappuccino, and it really began with the experience that customers had when they entered the premises, whether it was Starbucks, whether it was Apple. Today, when it comes to dentistry, the experience, yes, it doesn't just start at the front, because you're not a storefront, right? Your storefront is your online presence. That's where the experience starts. So you really have to create that Apple Starbucks experience online, because patients are not they don't walk into a dental office. They walk they're at the traffic light, they're sitting there in tooth pain, searching for a dentist who's gentle and compassionate and caring, has good reviews, and you have like 9-10 seconds before the traffic light turns green to kind of get them in the door. And you have very little time today in the digital world to create this amazing experience that will motivate them to actually give you a call. So I have been talking about customer experience till I'm blue in my face for all my years. I've been a CPA, and we've really tried to think about and advise clients on, guys, it's really important to make sure that we deliver that experience in such a way that competition then is irrelevant, because again, you made people feel better. You move people from a position that was not as good to a position of good or better or best. And so you're moving, right? I've always talked about dentists moving people from bad to good to best positions. And that's what we are all about. And patient experience really, really starts when they're looking for you. They type whatever they're typing online to search for you, and they find you. You have such little time. So let's talk about how Banyan facilitates that, because obviously you guys do better than anybody else that I've seen in dentistry. Is creating that Starbucks Apple experience, except not in person, but online.
Well, I think it's about creating experiences you don't want to throw away.
Right.
So I just got the iPhone 8, and I open up my cabinet in my office, and my cabinet is full of the packaging. Who throws Apple packaging away? Nobody does.
I don't.
Why? Because Apple spent so much time thinking about the experience of getting your box, of opening it, of going through this whole thing of getting your new iPhone or your iPad. So in dentistry, that's where the innovation needs to happen, and that's where it is happening. Luckily for me, I was able to watch my wife go through dental school. Yeah. And what she's learning is it's all about treatment. There's no courses on patient experience and enhancing your patient experience. Right. In fact, she's in the clinic, and anyone that's a dentist has experienced the same thing. And the patient comes in, and the patient's typically there for 2 to 3 hours. They're getting a cleaning done, or they're getting a filling done, or any kind of treatment, and the student has to go, after they've completed a step, they have to go wait in line for the professor, and the entire patient experience is terrible. And so from the very beginning in school, we're really trained to not even think about patient experience.
Correct.
We're just thinking about treatment. And so when we talk about Starbucks, when we talk about Apple, when we talk about anyone that's providing an amazing patient experience, that's where we have to extend that all the way through from the digital space into when the patient comes into your practice. Practices that are thinking about this right now are practices that are getting great reviews, are practices that are growing exponentially, and are practices that have really happy patients, because at the end of the day, I don't know enough about root canals to judge you as a dentist. I don't know if that root canal or that class 2 that you just did is amazing, but I know how you treated me.
Right.
And so for people, for dental offices that are able to figure that process out, even though it's something that's not talked about in dental school or throughout the whole experience, those are the ones that are doing very well.
So Nikki, you earlier talked about consistency in branding. How important is that? How important is for the patient to have that consistent experience, and where does it start?
Well, put yourself in their shoes. If you go online and you see an inconsistency going from their reviews and their star rating to their Facebook page and then to their website, right? Being able to see the same person, right, throughout the entire process is incredibly important. And if there's a break in that, you instantly lose trust. You instantly lose a part of what they could be experiencing in your office, right? Because they will find someone that is consistent. The term of online stalking is so relevant. Stalking used to be this terrible word that when people would say it, it was like, oh my gosh. But now you are almost the weird one if you are not stalking. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a date. It doesn't matter if it's your neighbor. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody goes and looks you up online before they meet you. It's just the new industry standard. And if you are not consistent, it's a red flag in people's mind. So the importance of it, it's no longer an option. It's an absolute necessity to be consistent online.
And then again, and we had talked about this earlier, is about connecting with your local geography, your local community, because dentistry, as you said, even if you're a big organization, a big DSO, every office, it's still about the community that you're in. Right. You still have to win their trust.
Exactly.
So you have to kind of extend that brand, right, to the local community. What have you, Paul, in your years of experience, and you've interviewed a lot of your clients in dental offices. Where do they see? What have you seen change when the mindset shifted from being a clinician to a provider of experiences, leveraging obviously technology that you guys provide to create those experiences, showcase them, and spread them virally? Yeah. What shift have you seen in the interview that you've done hundreds and thousands of interviews with dental offices? What changed and how was it? Have you guys measured any of that stuff?
Definitely. So what changes is treatment. Treatment gets better. Case acceptance increases. Your staff are a lot happier. It all bottles down to what we're talking about here, where when you focus on patient experience, the downstream benefits, everything benefits. It's a huge increase. I've talked to a lot of dental practices, and a lot of dental practices, if you're focused so much on production, that's going to actually show in your patient experience. Obviously, we do have numbers that we need to hit, but when you focus on your patient experience, production just happens. So it's like cart before the horse type thing, right? Dental practices that focus on patient experience have higher quality reviews. Their online presence is very succinct. They're very consistent because it's very easy for them to be consistent because they have those patient connections already. There's just so many benefits with that. If there's inconsistencies in the practice, or if there's inconsistencies with the patient experience, your staff isn't going to be happy, and if your staff's not happy, they're not going to provide a good patient experience. And so for me, the root cause of a successful practice comes back to that. And we see it time and time again. So again, Nikki talked about consistency. those practices out there that are consistently posting or consistently getting reviews, it comes easy to them. It's not going to be a sprint where they do it very well for 1 month or 2 months, but the patient experiences for years and years. How do you maintain that consistency over time? And it starts at the bottom and building a very good staff that can connect with patients. And then after that, then you will see those consistent reviews come in. You will see those consistent posts, and those amazing patient stories will start to surface. So it's just this really cool circle of benefit.
And does Banyan kind of get involved with, let's say we have a practice that buys into this, and then a couple of months later you realize that they're not doing anything. Do you kind of nudge these guys to say, guys, you need to do this to be able to, because again, experience matters, and we want, and you've created this amazing tool that allows you to showcase that experience.
Yeah.
Well, if you were to take everything that Paul said, that's heavy. That's overwhelming, right? And that's exactly what Banyan has done, is to be able to say, here is what we are doing.
Okay.
Right? You are here. This is where we are as Banyan, and we're going to help you take these steps to get where Paul is saying. Right? Because if a practice just looks at it, it's like it's overwhelming to get from point A to point B. But that's what we've done is we're helping you take these baby steps to help you accomplish it.
I was talking to a practice the other day, and we were discussing they're posting 8 times a week. They're posting a lot, and I was asking the office manager what that experience is like, and her story was kind of cool because she said, all of us in dentistry, we feel actually really passionate about patient experience, and
Sure.
if you think back to why you went into dentistry in the first place, it was to help people. So if you can always just connect yourself to helping people, making people feel comfortable, that's the patient experience you want to provide. So I was talking with her, and she was talking about how when she gets a comment from a patient, or when a patient leaves a review, she feels like it's worth it. She feels validated that the reason why she went into healthcare in the first place is she's actually actualizing that reason of helping people.
This is wild, actually, to hear this, because now you're translating the patient experience into your team's experience. Because and then, I mean, again, one of the bigger pain points that we see in dentistry across as practices are scaling operations is, how do you inspire and motivate teams, and how do you have them perform at their peak? And part of that is that if you have happy patients, if you have patients who are leaving amazing reviews and pictures and all that stuff, it does fulfill your needs at where you're working, from a standpoint of, yes, this place provides me compensation, but this also provides me meaning and purpose to my life,
Right.
because I am making things better for people.
Right.
And I think that's great. I didn't realize that the patient experience is going to translate into better team experience. I didn't realize, and that can only come because you've interviewed these guys, right?
Totally.
The office manager feels amazing about herself because a patient provided an incredible review that talked about her or the office, and she feels validated that I'm here not just to make money, but I'm here to serve a higher purpose. And Banyan facilitates that.
Well, and when you think about how the world's changing, let's talk millennials, for example. Millennials will take a lower paying job if they feel like they're contributing, if they feel like they can contribute to, they're actualizing themselves in some way.
Right.
And with the turnover that's in healthcare, 20%, 25%, and you're mostly dealing with hygienists and millennials and people, and it's a younger generation, they went into healthcare for a reason. So if you can continue to validate that reason, it's been funny. We work with a lot of practices, and practices that generally don't have good reviews online. The experience of taking them from poor reviews to really good reviews is that the fact is that good reviews are out there, but are you capturing those good reviews?
Right.
And it becomes part of their self-identity. If I go into a practice every single day, and we have some cool stories about this, but if I go into a practice every single day that's like a 2 stars, and all the reviews say something about oh, I just feel like I'm being upsold, blah, 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 that reflects on me. That's part of my personal
feel
brand.
bad
I
about
feel
it.
bad, yeah. So if we start capturing these good reviews, or if we start making these posts and taking the time for patient experience, then all of a sudden my self-identity as a provider changes, and I realize that I am giving a good service, and that I love coming to work every day.
And that changes the psychology of everything you do
Of
eventually.
everything, yeah.
Fascinating, absolutely fascinating.